Have you ever felt like one week you're motivated, consistent, feeling good in your body, and the next week you're exhausted, craving everything in sight, and wondering what the heck happened? Like, why does weight loss feel so easy one week and so hard the next? Is it your hormones? Is it your cycle? Or are you just lacking discipline? Because if you've ever asked yourself that, you are not alone, my friend. Cycle syncing has been blowing up lately with promises that you can finally work with your body instead of against it. But here's the real question. Does it actually help with weight loss? Or is this just another wellness trend that's going to leave you more confused? Today, I'm sitting down with Bekah Yawn from For the Love of Hormones podcast to break it all down. We're talking about what cycle syncing actually is, how your hormones impact your energy, cravings, and consistency, and what you really need to focus on if your goal is lasting weight loss. Because here's the truth. You're not broken, but you might be trying to force your body into a rhythm it was never designed to follow. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to the Kingdom Fit Moms podcast, where we believe that you can go on a journey to lose weight for the last time. I know you've tried all the things and you may not believe me yet, but when you do weight loss the Kingdom Fit Moms way, everything changes. You're in the right place if weight is constantly on your mind, you're confused about food, you're missing out on memories, and maybe even putting your dreams off for another day because this weight struggle is no joke. We're a community and we're on a mission to invite God into this weight loss journey so you can shed the burden and shine your light. I want you to start living and believing in the version of yourself that heaven sees. Let's get started. Okay, it's time for our weekly Fit Mom Win of the Week, where I share one of the breakthroughs that is happening inside of our community, Fit Moms Academy. So this Fit Mom states, I shared this in our weekly check-in, but a scale barrier that has been a mental block for me over the past 3 years was broken, and I'm praising God. I've gotten past a specific number on the scale that I've yo-yoed up and down 20 pounds about 5 times in those 3 years, and am down in the next tens place, just going to keep it on keeping on, so into the things I can control and trust Him with the outcome and timing. I'm also thankful for the Lord starting to shift my perspective in undoing learned mindsets of short-term or diet mentality to kingdom thinking with long-term legacy fruit and wins. That is the best win, and I'm so proud of you because this is the goal, right? We don't want to just fix something that is superficial and going to lead to a place where you're bouncing back in, a month, 2 months, a year. We are aimed at transforming you from the inside out. So I'm totally celebrating you and way to go getting through that weight loss plateau. I remember thinking, why can't I just stay consistent? I knew what to eat, I knew what to do, and somehow I just kept ending up in the same place, frustrated, defeated, and starting over. And maybe you felt that too. That's exactly why I created Fit Moms Academy, because weight loss isn't just about food. It's about what's driving your habits, your thoughts, and your choices. Inside Fit Moms Academy, we help you break free from the cycle with simple, sustainable habits, faith-based mindset work, and a community that actually gets it. So you can stop obsessing over food, feel confident in your body, and finally walk in freedom. If you're ready for that kind of transformation, we'd love for you to join our tribe inside of Fit Moms Academy. Go to kelseywickenhauser.com/join. And if you join now, you'll get last chance pricing. After this week, the price is going up, my friends, because we are rocking and rolling with lots of coaching and amazing transformations. So if you want last chance pricing, make sure that you join Fit Moms Academy this week. Hey, Bekah, welcome to Kingdom Fit Moms podcast. I am really honored to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit about you, and then I want to share with our audience my story with finding you, but let's hear about Bekah's life and kind of what you do.
Awesome. I'll try to give the cliff notes. I have, let's see here. I have 4 kids here on earth. I have 3 in heaven. I'm a stay-at-home mom. We homeschool. Well, I kind of like work a little too. I'm a fertility coach and educator, and I'm also a birth doula. And yeah, been married for about 10 years. So that's the little Cliff Notes version of me.
Awesome. And you have a podcast.
Yeah, that's a thing. I have a podcast. It's called For the Love of Hormones. And I love to the main focus of the podcast is to help those who are trying to get pregnant, or maybe you've recovered from a miscarriage. And then once you're pregnant, like how to stay pregnant, right? So that's kind of the big focus. I'm a very strong Christian. And so we just go there on my podcast. And I know you go there too on yours. So yeah, just trying to be very direct about addressing both the physical and the spiritual together.
Yeah. So for our listeners, excuse me. So probably, I don't know, a couple months ago, I shared a testimony on Kingdom Fit Moms podcast about my son. He's 9 months. He had a heart defect when he was born. But prior to that, I had 2 miscarriages within about a year. And I was feeling really desperate because I have 3 other kids. And I was like, man, what is wrong with me? And I found your podcast and it was so encouraging. It was really just a timely word for me and helping me to get through that season. And so obviously I'm through that season now, but I know so many women struggle with this kind of in the dark, and it can feel very isolating. And so anyway, to our listeners, I wanted to bring Becca on because maybe you're in a season of trying to get pregnant, or you're even curious about hormones and how that affects, our overall health. We're going to have a conversation today about cycle syncing, but I just wanted to give Becca a proper introduction in case you want to go check her out.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelsey. I'm so sorry for everything that you went through, and I'm glad that you're on the other side.
Yeah.
How's your little one doing now?
He's great. He's wonderful. He's
Yeah.
currently, as we're recording, 9 months and just thriving. So God is
Good.
faithful, but I know that, yeah, anyway, not every situation ends that way. And so I love connecting resources, especially when they are faith-based and people being able to find you to get some encouragement. I think they'll really be blessed. So go check out Becca's podcast. Early plug in this podcast.
Thanks, Kelsey.
You're welcome. So I love to ask all my interviewees, what are 3 things that you are loving right now? It can be anything in the world.
Oh my goodness, what a fun question. So, okay, number 1, there's this YouTube channel. It's called Lifted Spirit Praise and Fitness. And it has been just, I don't know, it's just been such a blessing combining healthy movement with scripture and hymns and I don't know, just worship music. So that's been like really fun. I've really, really enjoyed that. So I highly recommend that. It's this lady, she just has all her stuff for free, which I'm like, girl, you could really make some money off this, but she's just putting it all out there. Like it's so awesome. Her name is Alicia. So I love that. What else do I love? I've recently found this kind of like calming supplement that I really like for getting ready to go to sleep. I've had my baby, I'm about 5 months postpartum now. So, and that's like a whole other story, but, it was a really rough pregnancy. It was a rough birth. And so that has kind of led into a rough postpartum. So I'm dealing with like some cortisol stuff, but I found this, supplement that I really like, and I'm like the worst person on the planet because I won't be able to name it exactly, but it's through this company called Azure. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Not.
It's really awesome. It's like this company where you can just buy bulk organic groceries, and it's way cheaper than buying it at the grocery store. And then they also have a really great line of supplements that are legit. So, it's something like, oh, gravy. I'm gonna look it up. I'm sorry, Kelsey. I am the worst.
That's okay. We can also put it in the show notes because now everyone's going to
Yeah.
be curious, want to go check out your supplement. But
I know, like it is really nice, but I really like it because it's nursing friendly. I would have taken it in pregnancy if I could. It has like L-theanine and valerian root, lavender, passion flower, like all the calming little things. So yeah, so that's thing number 2. And then thing number 3, what am I loving right now? Just being outside and sunshine is really important in general, I think for all of us. And so, yeah, just loving that fresh air.
Where do you live again?
I live in Colorado. So some days are like really cold, but it's been a little bit warmer recently, which is nice. So
Are you in the mountains or what?
we can see the mountains. So we like that. We're like on the flat plains. We're in Erie, Colorado. And we can see the mountains.
There you go. Love it.
Yeah,
I'm in Illinois and it's cold, but I think we're seeing signs of spring. It's coming. So it's something to
good.
look forward to.
That's good.
So today we are going to talk about cycle syncing. I have not had anyone on the podcast talk about this, so I'm very curious to hear all of your words of wisdom. So maybe to start, can you just tell our audience what is cycle syncing and why is it important?
Okay, so when we think about cycle syncing, number one, I just want to talk about what is the cycle? Because a lot of times women think of the cycle as their period, but that is your menstruation. Your whole cycle is the first day of your period until the day before you get your next period. So that can be anywhere in a healthy range from 24 to 36 days. Okay, so when we think about syncing up with our cycle, there are different phases within our cycle. And this is something that I give education on. I'm a fertility awareness educator. And so I teach like what are the different cycle phases, what are your different cycle phases, and how to figure that out. But I call it, there's like a phase of tranquility. And I'm sure everyone can guess when that is. That's like a little bit before your period and during your period. And the tranquility phase is when things are really low, your hormones are low, yada, yada. Once your hormones start picking up a little bit after your period, we call that the time to initiate. These are all my phases, by the way. Like I kind of coined these and name these. They have like the official names or whatever, but I like to have these words attached to these phases because it helps all of us to be like, oh, okay, that's what I'm focusing on right now. So time to initiate is just a few days after your period, typically, maybe lasts for like 4 to 7 days. And that's when you kind of like pick back up. Starting to get more energy, starting to feel a little bit more social. And then you have the time to maximize. So the maximize is like kind of around your ovulatory phase. It's when your body is getting ready to ovulate and ovulating. And at that time in your cycle, you feel like you're on top of the world. If you're an athlete, you're like peaking on whatever it is you're peaking on, whether you're lifting weights. I was a swimmer growing up for many years. I swim in college. And I'm like, dang, I wish I would have known this about my cycle because some days I was like on top of the world and some days I was like under the world. And it all would have had to do with my cycle. But that time to maximize, you're just super creative. You're super interested in your husband and intimacy. And you love talking to people. Even if you don't like talking to people, you do during this time, or you're like more open to it. So that's the time to maximize. And then after that, I call it the time to execute. And so that is after you've ovulated until a few days before your period. And it's different for every woman. For some women, I'll pause. I'm not going to go into that yet, but a time to execute is when your progesterone is really high and you are just kind of nurturing. You know, you're more curious and interested in taking care of your family or your home, or kind of just being busy around home. And you're still cool with like hanging out with people, but you're not as extroverted. You should still have good energy. You should still have good libido in this phase. But those are some of the different phases within our cycle. And so when we think about cycle syncing, we want to think about all the aspects in our life. And I think today we're just going to talk about two of them. We'll talk about exercise and nutrition. But there's so many facets in our life that we want to be really aware of. Where am I in my cycle? What are my hormones doing? Because like I said, that's kind of a very quick overview of what's going on in a normal, healthy cycle. But there's a lot of not normal and there's a lot of not healthy cycles, and we could totally go into that. And I think we should, maybe some of the more standard hormonal imbalances that we'll see and how that impacts how we cycle sync. because it's not just like a one size fits all. Here's how you should exercise with your cycle phases, which is really important if you're like Googling things, which you should stop doing. But it's going to confuse you because you're like, it's going to tell you what you should be doing, but you need to figure out what your body is asking you to do. And most of the time, that's how you can figure out how to cycle sync. So that's kind of a general overview, and I'll pause on that note.
Okay. Interesting. I like the words that you put to it because I'm a physician assistant. We learned all the um, medical terms for going through your cycle. But as a mom and as a woman outside of medicine, I don't think I ever learned it like this. Like this seems like hidden information that everybody should know, right?
Yeah.
Especially I was an athlete in college too. And I think the same thing. Like I wish I would have known well, you'll go into this, I'm sure, but like when to train harder, when to rest. And it's really fascinating. So let's just start with exercise then. So considering that we have this variability in our cycle, what are some tips that you have for cycle syncing with exercise? And maybe you can touch a little bit on what to do if your cycle isn't regular for
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah, that sounds great. So, in general, the biggest piece of advice, the biggest word of wisdom out of all of this sounds so simple, but it's really, really true. It's listen to your body. Okay. You can come and work with me, and I can teach you all the nuances of all of your hormones and all the things going on within your body and how to observe that from cycle charting, which is really, really helpful. It's especially important with fertility health if you're trying to get pregnant. But ultimately, slow down and do a check-in. How am I doing today? Am I tired? I think at all points in our cycle, we need to be doing some kind of movement and breath work. So even in our time for tranquility, I'm not a fan of yoga. There's like a whole thing with that. Like, I'm just, I used to love it, but then just theologically kind of learning more about it, I was like, I just can't do that. So that's why I really like that one YouTube channel that I mentioned, because you do a lot of beautiful, slow, good movement. But it's with worship and it's not connected to yoga and all those poses and everything. But in that time for tranquility, doing something like that, doing some kind of like stretching, Pilates type restorative movement, even just walking. Because sometimes, like if I tell you to listen to your body and you're exhausted all the time, you're probably going to be like, well, my body's telling me to just sit on the couch and eat some potato chips all day. And that's not really. Okay. So number one, if you are exhausted all the time, you have probably got some really deep roots going on that your body is telling you, I am not happy. I am having roots of like these signs of being tired. Okay. The signs of like not wanting to work out, not being motivated, having a low mood. Guys, those are connected to your hormones. That's connected to your endocrine system. There could be some root issues of gut stuff going on, liver inflammation, hormonal stuff, all kinds of things, cortisol. And that's your body asking you not just to exercise, but to be like, I need you to listen to me because I need help. So I just wanted to like say that. Okay. So, but overall, listening to your body and accepting that I need to do some kind of movement in all my cycle phases. So that time for tranquility, yes, it is absolutely time to rest from what your normal is, but keep moving, whatever that looks like. And then in your time to initiate, that's when you're kind of starting to get back into your more routine workouts and getting in some good movement. HIIT workouts are great. Just don't burn yourself to the ground. And then as you get into maximize, that's when you're doing like your crazy stuff. Like whatever your max, whatever your peak, whatever your most intense kind of workout that you enjoy doing, that would be the time to do it. Then in your execute, that's when you do kind of slow down. You maybe you can do some more cardio type stuff, and just keep doing what you enjoy and just really tune in. Just really tune in. I mean, I've, obviously been recently postpartum. I try to do this like diastasis recti training, and like, it was so not for me. And I worked really hard at it. I did it for 2 or 3 weeks, but my body was screaming. And here I am like a hormone coach, like listen to your body. And I'm like, Oh my gosh. Cause I'm just like such a tough nugget, right? Like I have that athletic background of like, just push through it, just keep going. You got this. Like I'm your coach. Like you can keep doing it and everything. But my body was literally like getting dizzy and like faint and everything. And I'm just like, what am I doing? Like clearly she knows how to heal up my tummy, but this is not working for my body, you know? So like I've got to find something different. And so that is kind of like the overarching view of exercise. It's extremely important overall. I mean, you guys are on this podcast because you are probably interested in hearing Kelsey's tips for exercise. And I'm just coming with a little bit of hormone nuance of, if you're exercising too hard when your hormones are totally burned to the ground already, like you're having low hormones all the time in your cycle and you're exercising really hard, exhibit A, me in postpartum, just working way too hard, it's going to burn out what your body is already trying to do. And so then you're just at this even lower state and you're getting more exhausted and more fatigued. If you're someone who has really high hormones, like you've got high estrogen, high testosterone, estrogen dominance, and all of that, and you're just going for leisurely walks and you're just doing some stretching kind of stuff, that's not going to cut it for you. Like you're someone who is going to need to be working out once or twice a day, having more intense movement to help bring your hormones down and help detox all the excess that's happening. So that kind of touches on, I think, a few things that you wanted to hear, Kelsey.
Yeah, this is such good advice, and I love how you simplify it. So I can think of a couple examples in my community. So one is the woman who wants to get pregnant and she's still doing like insanity workouts, right? Or really high intensity things. And then she's frustrated that she's not getting pregnant. And so I think part of what you touched on there is, yeah, listen to your body and maybe tone it down throughout the whole cycle, but recognize at least half or a quarter of that cycle, you need to really chill out, right? And let your body recover.
Yeah. Did you say it was insanity workouts?
Yeah. Well, or something like that, just
Okay.
really high intensity.
Mm-mm. No, 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 no. I would so not recommend that. I've done those things. And I mean, obviously, like I can't give a recommendation for her. If you said she was struggling to get pregnant.
Just
So I,
a broad example, just
okay,
of somebody who wants to
okay.
get pregnant. I've seen this a lot where there just hasn't been the education of like, what do I need to be doing to move my body in order to regulate some of those hormones, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's really important because just taking that general advice of just like exercise more and work out. No, you really need to know what your body is doing. When you learn how to chart your cycle with a fertility awareness method, you can see on that paper chart, what is my body telling me? Like, am I having low estrogen, low progesterone? Am I having high estrogen? High progesterone isn't really a thing. So, but like high estrogen, it'll make you feel totally bonkers. But it's really important to know what your body is doing and choose a workout plan that goes with that and cycle sync that workout plan as well. Like I really I've used Beachbody over the years off and on for different things. And I think it's really helpful. I do like their portion fix program.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's helpful with like learning macros and learning what are good portions for my body and my weight. So I think those are great, but I do have big caveats of that as a hormone coach of like, we need more healthy fat than what's on there in that program. And also the exercise programs, like there's plenty of good ones in there, but I'm like, oh my gosh, number one, pick one that is good for you in your season of life. And number two, you have to cycle sync whatever that exercise program is, even if it's like the duration of how long you're exercising for, or if you're working at it more intensely or like a little bit lighter, like heavier weights, lighter weights, all of that. So it's really important not just to like take something and chug at it, you know. And I think especially for those of us who are athletes, you know, growing up and even in high school and college, like we really have to check ourselves because we're just kind of, you know, we're not high school athletes anymore. We're moms. And we're in very different seasons of life, and we can't just take these wacky exercise programs and expect that they're going to do what we want them to do.
Yeah. I think that having this knowledge really provides a lot of grace and a lot of, I guess, encouragement for somebody who is more athlete minded to not burn out. You know, I have some gals in my community who have like had such amazing freedom in their weight loss journey. And then they're at this point where they're trying to figure out, okay, how do I make this sustainable? And then they go all in and then they burn out. So this is just a method to really provide a lot of grace, right? So you get to the point of tranquility and you're like, okay, I can still go out on a walk and get my miles in. I don't have to be running these days or whatever. I think it's just such a beautiful method to, yeah, prevent burnout and to keep going.
Yeah.
So tell us about the nutrition part then. So how do we cycle sync with our nutrition?
Okay, so nutrition, it's pretty similar. The overall standpoint of like number one, know what your body is doing and what it needs. Um, so like if it is really important to know like what are my hormones doing in regards to your nutrition. But there are some like overall fun cycle syncing tips that I'll give you guys. So, a really common thing that some women come to me with are crazy heavy periods, painful periods. And so I'm going to change y'all's life maybe if you follow these tips. So one of them is to consider taking out red meat, sugar, and alcohol a week before your period and during your period. And I also encourage adding on taking turmeric during that time and see what that will do for you. That could do a lot. If it doesn't do what you want it to do, you might need to do more of like a bigger detox. You might have like so much synthetic or xenoestrogenic cells happening in your system that we just need to get them out. Before, and it's kind of like an inflammatory response. Your period itself is inflammatory. So, I mean, your uterine lining is shedding. It's an inflamed process that's natural, biological, physiological. And if we have a lot of inflammation on top of that inflammatory process, that's where that pain, that intense pain comes from. So, again, the red meat, I mean, even dairy, if you might be sensitive to dairy, I don't know. I would say like, if you're concerned about dairy, just cut it out altogether, try it for 30 days and see how that does for your periods too. So that's one of my favorite tips. The other favorite tip that I love is called seed cycling. So for this one, again, you need to know when you ovulate. You need to know when your cycle phases are in order to accurately do this. But it's like day one until ovulation, you do the follicular seeds, which I am like the worst hormone coach on the planet because I always get them mixed up. And so I always like look them up right before sharing because I think I like shared them wrong one time and then my brain got it mixed up. And so I'm just like, you know, we're just gonna. So it is pumpkin and flax in your follicular phase, and then sesame and sunflower in your luteal phase. So your luteal phase is the day after you ovulate until the day before your next period. So I love doing these like in like little date seed nut butter balls, and you kind of like put them in. You could do like chocolate, you could do almond butter, some dates, and then put in your happy seeds for whichever phase of your cycle you're in. And those seeds can help promote your hormones. So like in the follicular phase, when estrogen is kind of the star of the show, that pumpkin and flax help promote healthy, happy, natural estrogen. And they might even help to detox like bad synthetic, not real estrogen. And then similar for the luteal phase, the sesame and sunflower can help with supporting progesterone. So these are definitely helpful things. I've noticed like, yes, your diet's really important. Exercise is really important, but we do definitely need to make sure we're like hitting all the things in the lifestyle to see big changes, if that makes sense. Like if you're having like a total luteal phase defect, is seed cycling going to cut it? Probably not, but it's definitely something I would encourage to help aid in addition to other things.
One other maybe nutritional piece of advice you could give us. A lot of women will ask me the question, why do I crave brownies right before my period? So do you have any advice for the women who are craving all the carbs right before they start to bleed?
Yeah. And so that's actually pretty normal to crave more carbs in your luteal phase. And that's how God designed us for whether we get pregnant or we're not pregnant. But for when we're pregnant, that baby, like even immediately needs sugar and needs those carbs and starches. And it's just this connection with progesterone. Progesterone is that dominant hormone that plays out in our luteal phase. And so it just does kind of make us crave more carbs and starches. So honestly, listen to that. Don't overdo it. So if you typically have like 1 or 2 carb servings a day in your follicular phase, you could have 2 to 3 in your luteal phase, but feed it really well, So like really good oatmeal with cacao nibs and almonds and walnuts and put your good seeds on it. And so another thing that can kind of help curb the cravings are dark berries. So your raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, and those are chock full of antioxidants. Dust it with some cocoa powder. I love cacao nibs, and that will usually satisfy that craving. And sometimes it helps us to understand why we're craving those things. It's like, oh, okay, this is progesterone. This is natural. This is what my body is wanting. So how can I nourish it in a wholesome way, not in a, I'm going to have a Milky Way bar kind of crappy way. Right? Because that's not going to do anything for us. So that's a great question.
Yeah, that's so freeing for all of us who were wondering, like why am I craving all the things right before my period, right? So go have yourself a sweet potato or some, I don't know, some berries or something, right? Okay, so before we end today, do you have any other advice for the woman who might be interested in learning more and going down this road of learning about her cycle and what her hormones are telling her?
Yeah. So you guys get so much beautiful information over here. If you want to learn more about the fertility side of things and hormones, you can come to the For the Love of Hormones podcast. And I do have a program called Fertility Framework where I do teach you how to track your cycle and teach you what is your cycle telling us, empower you to be the brain behind what is my cycle telling me, not relying on devices, not relying on Google. And then helping you understand, like you guys got some great tips today, and that's like, there's a lot more in Fertility Framework in regards to hormones and learning how to identify those root issues and restore them naturally. My biggest thing is we're doing this with God at the center. So we're in the car, Jesus is in the driver's seat, we're in the passenger. And we are just going with the flow and submitting to him all of the things, because you're going to learn like 300 tips that could be really beneficial. But we're submitting and asking the Lord, like, okay, God, of these, what is most important for me right now? And listening to the Holy Spirit. So it's a great resource. And overall, that's a great practice to have in our lives as well with whoever we're working with.
Amen. I love it. So I will make sure that we link in the show notes everything that you need to connect with Bekah and go listen to her show, especially if you're somebody who is on this fertility journey. I know it will bless you. So thanks so much for hanging out with us today, Bekah.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelsey.
Hey Fit Mom, if this episode blessed you today and you can think of somebody else who's struggling in her weight loss journey, would you consider sharing this week's episode with her to give her a sense of hope? And then while you're at it, hop on over to our free Facebook community, Kingdom Fit Moms, for daily encouragement and support. Let's go shed the weight to shine the light.